This video is sponsored by Wing Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're looking at Eagle Dynamics' roadmap for 2021. It basically displays what they plan to do over the next year. First of all, the most worrying thing for me is it seems like 5 minutes ago we were sitting down and doing this for the 2020. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So this whole year has gone in like, have we actually done anything this year? It honestly seems like 5 minutes. That's so scary. Dear fighter pilots, partners and friends, what are we? We are pilots. We are sort of partners-ish, kind of maybe. And we're friends. 2020 was a tough year for most of us, a challenge for Eagle Dynamics too. Despite COVID-19, we managed to release several products and core improvements, which we hope your expectations. We also changed our open beta release cycle, that was really a big one, wasn't it? Moving to a monthly.
Yeah, that was big.
For the reasons that it just wasn't organised and tested well enough, people were finding, and bugs were getting through. So they've changed it, so it's now monthly, and they've got a whole testing team set up for single player, multiplayer. It's been a lot better. We've had almost no problems, right? For at least me and you.
There were problems here and there, but they actually fixed them pretty quickly.
But if you remember before that.
Oh yeah.
And this honestly, we were literally having to cancel our missions because stuff just wasn't working. I can't think of any examples now, it's typical, but anyway, it's changed and it's got better and it works, so great. And focused more on quality and less on feature delivery. For this, we have you to thank, our faithful community. We really count and value your feedback. Without your trust and patience, we would never have been able to achieve this level of quality and enjoyment that you deserve. Thank you and keep it up, please. The beginning of the year seems to be posing many of the same challenges, but the team is well organised and we believe that we have a solid roadmap for 2021 that will see the addition of new modules and improvements to the core DCS program. Please do take a look at our plan below. Kindly understand that the dates are best estimates as of writing this letter and may move around, which is just how it is. First quarter of 2021, we will migrate DCS to 2.7. While it was planned to release 2.6 in the very beginning of the year, so many additional changes are in the works that we've decided to move directly to 2.7. But prior to this move, we will have one remaining update to version 2.5, which may include many improvements to the Hornet. Do you know anything about 2.7, or is there anything we should know about?
I know nothing about it.
So the Hornet, and we should say this is only about the ED products. This isn't about the third party, right?
Yes, correct.
Finalising the fantastic module is one of our top priorities, and our goal to have the project out of early access by the end of the first quarter. Well, that'd be nice. In January, so it sounds like they'll be really pushing on that, getting the last kind of things going. In January, we'll be adding new functions for expendable count, just normal, yeah, it just means normal flares and chaff. That's essentially done now. On our next release, we think electronic attack. What the deuce is that?
I'm wondering if that is the jammer.
Right, okay. Well, then it says radar jamming effects, but okay. You may be right, but I've never heard of that.
I don't know. Right. I mean, electronic warfare, but that includes jammers. And
maybe there's something in there. That's sea and ground moving radar mode, so the air-to-ground radar designated target sharing. What is that? TXD.
I think that's like a
data link sending targets, swapping targets.
Yep, just like the A10 where you can send targets. I think that's what that is.
The fuel page, I thought that was done. Bit, but okay. BDU-45 practice bomb. ATFLR targeting pod. What's that?
It's just another targeting pod.
It was the pod that the US Navy used to record the aliens a few weeks ago.
It looks like they're the same, about the same. ATFLR and Lightning aren't too different. The Navy doesn't have Lightnings, so that's probably what they're doing.
Oh, right. So they're doing it for realism. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll just adjust the one they've got to suit it.
It's also a nav flare.
AGM-88C harm-free brief mode, the AGM-84K SLAM ER, so that's the extended range one, like the one we've got, coupled CPL autopilot mode. Any idea?
Waypoint following. So instead, it'll turn on waypoints.
Once out of early access, Hornet support will continue with the addition of the AIM-7P ACLS. Oh yeah, ACLS. We forgot all about that, didn't we? Wide ACM mode, so that's just literally a wide scan in ACM. And the data transfer cartridge function. So what is that? Like,
that's good because then you can set up stuff pre-mission, and then load it all in the like waypoints and things like that.
You can anyway. I'll say you can just build it in the mission.
But it's more realistic where you set up waypoints and then insert your data cartridge.
makes it more realistic how they do it, I
Yeah.
suppose. All right, whatevs. Thereafter, we'll be maintaining and polishing this module on an ongoing basis. Fine. Viper. Once Hornet is out of early access, some developers will be allocated to the Viper team in order to enhance their capabilities based on customer feedback. The highest priority includes completing air-to-air radar modes and functions. I didn't think we're missing air-to-air radar modes and functions. Obviously, we are.
Must be.
How about that? Shows what I know. Additional harm modes. We've got 2 harm modes now, haven't we? So I guess
Yeah, but there's one more, and it uses a pod that attaches to the aircraft.
What?
It's like a data link for harms.
Harms does seem a lot more in depth than the F-16 and the F-18. Do you know if
Yeah, I guessing because F-18 is designed for naval warfare.
All right. GPS INS stuff, so, your JDAMs, your JSALs, I don't know, that kind of stuff. Expanded defensive systems. Ooh, okay, it doesn't have a jammer, does it?
Well, it doesn't have a jammer. It doesn't have semi-automatic or automatic modes.
Good. I never use any. That's all a bunch of tosh. Have you ever used that in any plane and found it useful?
No, and actually even WAG says in the F-18 one that the automatic mode can quickly dump all your...
Here's the problem. I mean, I learned it in the A10 ages ago, and then what I found is, when an SA-10 locks you up from 70 miles away where it could never hit you, it just dumps all your flares and chaff for you, and it's like,
right,
I'm never ever going to actually use that. But, all right, fair enough. Air-to-surface radio, fine. Mark points, yep. Additional ICP and MFD modes, yep. Options. Yep, because we've got a bunch of missing bits, haven't we? New weapon delivery modes and more, so there's a lot coming to that. Tank Killer. The Hawk is already nearly complete, but we do plan to deliver some features. We've got the funny radio, upgrades to the tactical awareness display, the TAD, changes to optically guided Maverick slewing, okay, and long version of the, I don't know what it means by long version of the 184 pod.
There's a longer version of it, like just physically longer. I'm not sure it has any different functionality, but...
Also saying possible tow decoy on the F-16. Expanded defensive measures. I've never heard of an F-16 having a tow decoy, but then again, I'm not very well informed, so that would be interesting, right? And that they might do that because they're going to have to do it for the Eurofighter.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Supercarrier, I must admit, I've completely forgotten about the supercarrier. I know it kind of came and we use it every day, we just don't think about it. And most of our effort in the supercarrier has been focused on creating 3D environments, the ready room, air boss station, and hangar deck. Hangar deck? What are you doing there exactly?
I don't know. You park your plane?
Other tasks for 2020 include plane directors to marshal aircraft at the catapults. Oh, how about that? And other landing area, the burble. Deck crew light wands for night operation. That's quite cool. Unique radio channels for different controllers and manual LSO control.
I think that panel that's there, you'll be able to actually manipulate.
Oh, right. Because you can read it in the moment. That's it. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. New aircraft, Mosquito Mark 6. Should be good fun. First new product, 2020 with the impressive Mosquito. This will be our first multi-engine, multi-crew, because it is multi-crew, isn't it? World War II aircraft DCS, and it will mark an important capability of future projects. The Mosquito is
I think it'll be the only fixed wing this year from ED, anyways.
From ED, yeah. Mosquito was planned to be released into early access at the end of first quarter of 2021. Okay. Hind. Named Hind by NATO, this Russian attack helicopter is deadly. Play it on a battlefield with an array of anti-tank guided missiles, twin-barrel, 30mm cannon, unguided rockets, and more, featuring cooperative multiplayer in the front and back seat. The product will offer an even higher level of detail and accuracy than the Mi-8, with the ability to also act as a troop cargo transport. Mi-24 will add an all-new dimension to attack helicopter operations DCS world. 24p is planned to release in the second quarter. Okay, that should be good fun. I'm secretly hoping that it's not too complex. I mean, it doesn't do...
I don't think it will be.
I mean, it's like the Camov. Camov's really cool, but I've completely forgotten how to fly it, and I really haven't got time to sit and learn all those systems again. I hope it will be... Well, we'll just see how it is. I don't know. It is how it is in real life, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yep. It will have well, we'll have to look at that interview. I think it'll have a jester type.
Right. Well, I'll have
but
to really want to.
It won't be humorous jester.
It won't be, definitely. It's
That's
Russian.
what they say.
Which leads us on to the Apache, which will be very complex, which is interesting. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. The Apache this year. Perhaps our biggest new aircraft plan for 2020 HC4 deal will be the most accurate and detailed simulation of this iconic attack helicopter like the Mi-24. It will feature front and back seat operations in single-player multiplayer based on the 2002 Block 2. The D will armed with Hellfire anti-tank guided missiles, rockets, head tracking, 30mm cannon. The early access is planned for release in the third quarter. Pre-sales as of February 21. What have I got to say about that? Now, is this the longbow? I think it's the longbow. So it also has got that funny radar on the top, right? And we can scan for baddies. And
they say that won't be done on initial release.
Right. So that's something that's going to come later. And that radar, what was that? Was it for finding ground Vics? It must have been, right?
I don't know.
Because it doesn't have radar guided weapons. It's got the Hellfire, which was laser beam rider or laser guided.
Right.
As far as I'm aware, it didn't have any kind of radar, so it must. I don't know. The annoying thing, I'm gonna have to go and watch our own interview back of our helicopter pilot where we talked about it. It's just so much to learn. I've forgotten it. No, due to the new Russian Federation laws pertaining to the gathering of information of Russian military equipment, we've had to reconsider our plans to add new systems to the Ka-50. We continue to update the cockpit as well, highly updated. Just done. I mean, that's a shame. It sounds like they've probably done a lot of work on that. So basically, what we think this means is the Black Shark 3 is being cancelled essentially, and they're just sticking with the existing. Personally, I'm a little bit disappointed to that because I thought it was a really good excuse for us to go and relearn the KF50 because we've got so many modules we have to kind of maintain now. You need a big excuse to go and relearn something, which will take a couple of weeks.
And I'm not sure what that means for the MiG-29.
Well, that's where I was going with it because on one of our interviews they announced MiG-29A, which is huge. It's the first high-fidelity, modern, baddie, apart from the JS-17, but Russian baddie, isn't it? And I did notice they went quiet and kind of stopped talking about it. So maybe that also means that they are stopping that. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's a real shame.
Yeah.
Shame, but okay. Mac, Modern Air Combat, despite lack of updates to this project, is still very much alive and are making continued progress. Much of work remains new gameplay modes, updating the 3D model and cockpit to Mac aircraft, creating new input wizard, and continue work on a new graphical user interface. We are shooting for the third. I still don't know really what this is. Do you any idea? I mean, is it what's that other game called?
I don't know much about it other than it's supposed to be a DCS for dummies kind of thing. Simple operation, that kind of thing. But I don't know anything more. I don't know if they're.
I haven't managed to find anything about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they mentioned it, so I assume they're still working on it. But
right. I'll leave that for that now.
The only thing I have to say about that, the Mac thing, though, is that hopefully they're not taking away resources.
I've mixed feelings about it. For me, it kind of diminishes the product a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Curate this really kind of super detailed, almost, to be honest, overly detailed flight sim, and then kind of, I don't know. And the other thing that might happen is the Mac might come out, and it might be really good in that it will get lots of normal people into it, as in it becomes millions rather than tens of thousands of players,
right? And
that becomes popular, and then DCS diminishes.
I mean, if it's bringing in, well, yeah, that would be bad.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it will though. Hopefully, it'll bring in money, and they'll put money into DCS because DCS also, remember, they do stuff for other.
I don't know. I've got mixed. There's good and bad about it. So this could be a stepping stone, which is great, or it could. I don't know. Okay, we'll just have to be better. We'll have to see. Channel. We continue to expand this map with additional airfields, including the famous Biggin Hill. I was wondering if new stuff was going to come. And East Church airfields in England. 2 new advanced landing group airstrips, right? And numerous new landmarks. We plan to release the final version of the map. Right, so that's coming out in the next few months. Then the final version of that. Problem I've got is that with so many maps, the more maps you have, as you know, the bigger your updates are, and it becomes if you've got slow internet like me, it becomes a real problem. So I only maintain a certain amount of maps. It's causing me some problems. Mariana Islands. Seeing that looks amazing. That airfield, Anderson Air Force Base, and several other on the island chain, combined with Chinese asset pack. We see interesting single-player multiplayer possibilities. This is still planned as a free map, and will later serve as the foundation for our World War II Pacific Theatre map. Sounds good. Clouds. The wait is almost over, and the new clouds in DCS have been introduced in the first quarter of 2021. In addition to being visually stunning, the new clouds will block visual and now here's interesting, because I did a few videos about this, and clouds don't actually block any sensors at the moment. I mean, it didn't particularly bother me because when would you ever even really notice, to be honest? But but it could block visual and optical sensors, line of sight, and will be... Actually, no, I take that back. It was annoying. Do they? Late? Are you sure?
I think so. I mean, you can't... Well, maybe not.
Because what I did was... I got a Strela IR guided thing, and I got a Tunguska, an optically guided thing, and flew over them with full cloud cover, and they just shot me down. So from that respect, that is a bit stupid, right? Because you can't see them, and they can see you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what the word volumetric means, is that they now have they have a presence. They're a thing, an object, right? Whereas before. Also, the good thing about making them like a thing rather than just a graphical effect is that they can now sync them up with everyone, because this thing is here and it's having this effect on these people. So
and they look really good. I mean, Wags has them in some of the videos he just came out with, so they do look good.
Very good. We will actually release a new cloud system with an array of weather presets that will cater to most mission building scenarios. Later in the year, we will update the weather tool in the mission editor level, final control of the clouds with a dynamic weather system based on more advanced range of engineering. Okay, new visual effects. Some of the new improved visual effects include improved helicopter rotor wash over water and ground. And yeah, that's good, because it's really good in IL2. The prop wash, it blows all the grass around. It's like completely pointless, but it looks cool. It's like, hey, that's actually quite cool. In DCS, nothing at all. So missile flame and smoke. Fine, yeah. Ground unit dust clouds, they are a bit crap at the moment.
Yeah.
Useful, because you can basically cheat, because you can see the dust from like 50 miles away. But,
yeah, that's true.
But I guess if it's realism, then... Transonic shock cones. Oh, yeah, that's cool, right? When you go transonic, you get those big things that kind of flicker on and flicker off, which is quite cool. Someone said they've already got them, but I'm pretty sure we would have seen them by now. Fuel explosions. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Maybe if you have a fuel tank on fire, it eventually will explode, or is it ground like fuel tanks on the ground? I don't know. I don't know what they mean.
Okay. Weapon water splash. I don't really get that. There already is weapon water splash, isn't there?
Yeah.
So further explosion improvement.
They're talking about improvements, so there could be an improvement.
Smoke grenade. What are smoke grenades? Why does an aeroplane have a smoke grenade? Is that a translation error, maybe?
Maybe it could be the smoke rockets.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Hope many available in stages throughout the year. Dynamic campaign, something that has no interest for me, but a lot of you will have an interest. The massive task has been underway for over 2 years, and the progress has been exciting. The campaign is built around a real-time strategy foundation that factors resources, zones of control, logistics, available forces, and strategic decision-making system. While we believe the internal testing will continue for the first quarter, it is too early to estimate a release date. However, external beta testing is planned hopefully later on this year. Vulkan API and multi-threading. And the integration of these libraries, DCS will benefit from improved performance throughout, including the virtual reality, which has been a substantial task to develop and integrate into our core code base. But we're nearing the end of this journey and expect to be there. So my understanding of this is that I've got my lovely new processor, 12 cores. What have you got? 10, 12?
24.
24 core, wow. Okay. Aussie's got 24. And DCS is using just 1 or 2 or something like that, which makes it just makes it a bad performer, doesn't it?
It just puts all of the processing power onto 1 core or 2. I guess they've split it, but it'll be nice when it can be spread across all.
Right, because if I look at, for instance, my rendering software here, when I go and render, it fills up all 12 cores, and it goes very, very fast compared to my old 4-core system.
Yeah.
And but DCS, compared to my old 4-core system, is actually only about 30% faster, because it's only using, it's basically using nearly the same amount of power, if you like, the same amount of number crunching. So good. Damage modeling. The end of 2020, in the end of 2020, the new damage model system for aircraft was released. Although some tuning remains, most of our work and focus on bringing the technology to our modern. Oh, so they are changing it to the modern aircraft level.
These 3 aircraft, but I'm hoping they're going to have an API for the third-party developers, so they can put the damage model on theirs as well.
Yeah, right. I guess they want to get it all sorted and done first, and then hopefully hand it over. I mean, it's in their own interest. I'm sure they will. Speaking of which, I think it's a good time to think about planning our next World War II campaign that we can do to kind of show it off to people as well and get some serious dogfights. So maybe for early quarter of this year, when our next campaign ends, we'll go on to a fun World War II dogfight thing, and we can really see the difference it makes with all the smoke now and stuff like that. That should be interesting. ATC, over the past year, our primary ATC focus has been on the supercarrier. Now that the supercarrier ATC system is nearing completion, we will next move on to airfield ATC communications. Given the scope of DCS world, this is not a simple task and will require 3 separate ATC systems. Eastern modern day, and World War II. Because this effort will require a large amount of new radio voice servers, we will take this opportunity to update the radio with other entities like AWACS and tankers. This will continue development. Okay, so what is this bringing to the average guy? What's the average guy missing? What should ATC be doing?
Maybe it may wind up being more dynamic. The only way it will really be good is if it does what the supercarrier does and manages the aircraft.
That's what I was thinking. ATC.
Aircraft.
Right, because the whole idea of ATC is to control aircraft in an organised fashion around an airfield, yeah? But if you're on your own in single player, which I'm guessing the majority of people will be who's going to be using
this. Well, but if you're in single player and you have AI units, then it should be managing them too.
So you can chuck on 10 other planes and it should, theoretically, manage them all then. And you dynamically with them, right? It will say, don't enter the circuit now because X, Y, and Z.
That's the way it should be working.
Does
see what they actually come up with.
Okay. FLIR, new and improved forward-looking infrared. In modern battlefield, a realistic rendering of FLIR sensors is mandatory, not just for aircraft, but also for ground units, unmanned systems, and weapon sensor video. Given the need to create the underlying technology and then create thermal maps for all world objects, terrain surfaces, and units, this has been quite a large task. We will continue to develop and hope to deploy. So this is like a teapot or something, I'm guessing.
Well, they're enhancing FLIR overall.
So what was, I mean, I don't know what FLIR looks like in real life. So what was the problem as it stands?
I don't know that it's accurate enough, and so I know they've been working on this for a while. They've been doing FLIR upgrades, but I think it's more visual, making it look better, making it everything kind of contrast better in FLIR. So we'll see.
All right. Okay. I guess I don't know enough about the real one to have any useful input.
Yeah.
AI unit.
I mean, right now the FLIR is a little muddy, whereas we should be more clear as to picking out units and things like that.
Because DCS World is built on a project spanning almost 2 decades, some units show their age and will update throughout the year. It's also important to add new units better for the battlefield. Here are some. It's about time, boys. So 52, it's basically the old rubbish-looking things that look they were made 20 years ago because they were made 20 years ago, finally getting redone, which is great. It's great.
Yeah.
Nothing to say. It will just be the meshes, presumably, but fine. Carrier aircraft, yep, needs doing as well. Ground units, I thought that stuff all looked fine, to be honest, but I guess it shows how out of date I am. I guess
SA-10 isn't that old, but luckily.
No, actually, I think they're right. When you actually zoom in and look at one compared to some of the new stuff, I think I kind of see what they mean. I guess they're right. Anyway, so it's all getting done. I'm going to say 22. Right, so we'll see that when it comes. All very good. AI behavior. Currently, much of the AI... this is interesting stuff. I've literally just done a video on this. It will come out probably after this video now, actually. Currently, much of our AI engineering effort is focused on the AI aircraft behavior. In harmony with the new damage modeling and I'm going to start again. Currently, with the AI engineering effort is focused on the AI aircraft behavior in harmony with the new damage modeling and in line with logical and understandable rules and practices. Additionally, the new ATC and new command will demand a significant amount of AI engineering. Right, like you were saying, the new ATC is about AI as well as...
Right.
I get it. Right. So what you're going to hear, so I'm starting getting a picture of this now, as a single player, you're going to hear AI talking to ATC and ATC talking to AI and this constant feedback loop, right?
You would hope. It's kind of where it needs to go if they're going to actually do it right.
Sufficient enhancements for AI behavior. Okay, I don't really know what to expect from that, but we'll see. We've taken the liberty of limiting this overview to issues have officially been announced. Rest assured, many secret and exciting developments are ongoing. Okay, so that's all very good. One of the this wasn't secret because this is was on one of the forums, but they're changing the Fox 2 Warhead Seeker heads so that they can see ground targets. Are you aware of that?
No.
Yeah. So that you can.
Yes, actually, I am. I did see that somewhere.
Now, I believe, I mean, take this with a pinch of salt. Obviously, this came from a forum, and this isn't official, but I think the Mi-24 can carry a heat-seeking variant of a weapon, I think, that they can use to shoot ground targets with. And because they're doing that, then what they're also going to do is update, all the AIM-9s and the R60s and the R73s and stuff like that. The whole, programming that goes in there. And they may take advantage they may decide to update it, make it more realistic.
You know what? They do talk about that in the Hind interview.
Right, yeah, I think that's probably where this came from then. So that's been quite a big thing. Obviously, it's going to do with the clouds as well. As you know, guys behind a cloud, it sounds like they're going to change it. And I get the feeling because of the flavour of this whole thing and how much has been worked on, I get the feeling they'll probably improve the Seeker design in general. It is actually quite basic. I did a study. I don't think you were a part. Yeah, in fact, you were probably my decoy. I was shooting you. I did a study, a couple of hours of videos I put out, just to saying how realistic. I don't want to say realistic because I don't know how realistic they are. What they are like in real life, but how detailed the modelling of the IR Seeker head. And it turns out they're modelled very, very simply in that. If a plane's got an afterburner on, it's one temperature. If a plane doesn't have an afterburner on, it's another temperature, and that's it. There's no, idle is just as hot as mill power, for instance, which is probably unrealistic, isn't it? So they're probably changing that. That said, I've never noticed it being a problem, if you know what I mean. In fact, a lot of this stuff they've changed. I've never actually noticed it being a problem. But I guess they're the kind of guy that want it perfect, right? They want absolutely perfect, which is fine. Which is it's good, isn't it? Because otherwise you wouldn't end up with something good. Great.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was a long spiel, and all I was really doing was talking about this document and just our personal views about it, because we can. Anything you want to add before we sign off?
Nope.
I hope a good 2021 for everyone. We'll keep you posted on everything we know about, and see you later.